Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85. I'm back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my Trendmasters Rodan figure. Oh yeah, so definitely wanted to delve more into the Trendmasters line, doing reviews on my figures of these. They're very, very nostalgic for me. Some of my earliest figures of, Godzilla and of course other kaiju like Rodan here, and just always have cherished these figures ever since I was a kid growing up, and of course have kept them all. They do have quite a bit of wear and tear on them, obviously being older and having a lot of play use, so they're not all in the best of shape, but still great to have them in my collection. And real quick, shout out to Godzilla Fan Freaks, who during his live stream the other day, Kaiju Chill O'Clock, mentioned that the Trendmasters Rodan was his personal favorite of the Trendmasters Godzilla figures. So very, very cool, very funny, because I was already planning to do the review on Rodan here. So I told him I would give him a shout out in my video. So here we are. And of course, for any of you folks out there, definitely feel free to check out not only his channel, but definitely feel free to check out his live stream. He does it just about every week, Kaiju Chill O'Clock. Either Thursdays or Fridays. He'll usually mention it on YouTube, but he'll also post on his Godzilla Fan Freaks Facebook page and his Instagram page. So guys, make sure to check him out. He was a big inspiration for me with doing my figure reviews. Really, really awesome guy. A good friend of mine. Became through the YouTube and Godzilla community. So definitely wanted to give him just another shout out as always. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into this here. So Trendmasters, if any of you are not familiar, they have very stylized designs. Rodan here essentially takes off of his Hesei incarnation, but again, it's a very stylized design. Still really cool nonetheless. As you can see, this is more like the they did different versions of these kaiju figures. This one's like more of like a bendable figure. So as you can see, it unfortunately doesn't stand up on its own. So I'm using the speaker here just to get him to prop up. Probably the wings should, because there's wire in here, so they should actually like curve up, so I could do more something like that to get him to stand. But as you can see, unfortunately, I guess the wire is out of bent out of shape, so it does not stay in place, and unfortunately I cannot get him to stand up with the wings out of the way, so just keep that in mind. But still, just a really great figure. Like I said, very nostalgic for me, so I definitely wanted to do this review here. So jumping into it with the paint and the detail here. Again, like I said, a very stylized version of the Hesei Rodan. But you got the three horns done in this cream color on the top of his head here. Obviously some paint wear over time there, as you guys can see, but still pretty cool nonetheless. It's pretty, like I said, it's a bendy figure, so it's pretty soft, so there's really nothing sharp on it, nothing sharp to the touch, but pretty nice detail. You got some smaller horns and rivets on the top of his head there, also done in that creamish color. Like I said, just kind of faded though over time. Then you got like this deep brown color, which kind of covers the main paint scheme of his body. You got a little bit of different shading here and there, like on the wings and whatnot, but this very deep brown. But you got the spikes running all the way down from his neck, all the way down into his tail. Again, faded out, but done in that creamish color. There, you got the back of the wings here. Again, more of that brown. You got some nice texturing and detail work on them, though. You guys can see a little bit of lines and some wrinkles and folds along from like where the arms are, and then of course down into the wings as well. Of course, you got some copyright information for Toho and Trendmasters there. Very, very cool. But again, more lines and wrinkles running down his back. Very, very nicely done. His face here got this sort of like neon greenish color for the eyes, which is really, really cool. They usually do stuff like that with the eyes on their figures, and this is certainly no exception, and it's really, really cool. Hopefully the camera's picking that up decently enough for you guys to see. And you got, again, more like this creamish bone color for the teeth there. And again, I do apologize. Like I said, a lot of the paint has faded over the years. Then you can see inside the mouth, you got this sort of deep red for the roof of the mouth with some detail in there. Very, very nice. And then, of course, the tongue also done in that deep red color there. As you guys can see, that looks pretty good. Again, more wrinkles such around the face and on his beak area. The beak's still done in like that brownish color, so they didn't do anything different there color scheme wise for the beak, but still looks pretty good nonetheless. And you got these nice lines there on his neck, and of course his chest and abdomen area. You got like again that creamish color for these rows of spikes there, and then this and then a little bit of a lighter shade of cream on like the armor plating area on the chest and abdomen, so you guys can see that. And again, textured pretty well. It's pretty cool to the touch when you feel the armor plating there. I definitely like it. And more of the wrinkles for the arms here, and you got the claws and that creamish color there, and then the wings with different shadings, browns, got lighter and darker browns there, and then you got almost this sort of tannish color here for like these membrane flaps that join into the shoulders there. Very, very cool. And again, nice texture work there, and nice little scales and whatnot done on the wings. Very, very cool. And on the legs there, you got more lines and folds and wrinkles there, and you got the knees, and of course the feet. Again, with the detail work and the creamish color for the claws, and of course the tail as well, the little tail. Again, with the wrinkles and folds there. So very, very cool. Very, very nice paint and detail work. Like I said, again, a very stylized design, but I think it looks really, really cool. This was definitely a very much, not just nostalgic like the other Trendmasters figures, but this was one I couldn't find for a while. And I finally found I had a trip up to New York to see my grandma. Well, pretty much did that every summer as a kid, or most summers. And the one when I was really trying to collect the Trendmasters figures when they were new, I couldn't find it down where I live, but we went to a toy store by her and found Rodan sitting there on the shelf, so my grandma picked it up for me. So very, very awesome. But anyways, though, other than paint and detail, articulation, like I said, you're not really going to get anything. This is a bendy figure, so there's no actual like joints there. You got wires and some bendable features throughout, but again, just with wear and tear over time, not really going to get him in any other poses, at least not for mine anyway. I mean, you could sort of flap the wings with the bending wire, but they're going to go back into place. So, like I said, I can't really do much as far as articulation goes, but still just an awesome piece to have. It's just, right now I have them boxed up when I don't have them out here, but when I eventually have the space to have all my figures out on display shelves and cases, I'll probably just have to either prop him up against like the back of a shelf or just find something to prop him up against, stand him up correctly. Not a big deal though, no biggie. And then otherwise, as far as sizing goes, let's go ahead here. I got my ruler out and about, and just so I hold him and stand him in place there, so you guys can sort of see. Kind of hard to do all this at the same time, but you guys can see sort of where the top of the horn is. As I'm standing him up, it's right about 4 inches, and that's what these figures usually are. They're like in the 4 to 5 inch range. So the Trendmasters figure is not really going to fit in with your Bandai figures or anything like that, but they do scale in pretty well with each other. And just for a little size comparison here, there's Rodan with Godzilla, and these guys do look pretty good together. Absolutely. Like I said, this Trendmasters figures definitely do scale pretty well with each other. So other than that, that's about it for sizing. As far as pricing goes, it's kind of different for each of the Trendmasters figures, and depending on where you get them, obviously you're gonna have to get them aftermarket, because these are, 25, 30-year-old figures. The initial line, like with Rodan here, came out in 1994, so 28 years ago. But if you try to look them up on eBay, I usually do see sellers with these figures on there. It just depends, like I said, the prices that you'll pay. Initially when they came out, they were, less than $10 each, but nowadays you're going to be paying, I would say at minimum $20 for these figures. And then of course you have the more rare ones like Anguirus, who I previously reviewed, and that one's going to be like a $50 figure. And then you've got ones that are even more rare that had a very limited release, like Baragon and Varan and Megalon. Those are going to be over $100 each. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, it depends which kaiju you're looking up, and as far as how readily available they are, and of course depends on the seller as well. But just kind of keep that in mind, that they are older figures, and they're of course getting more and more rare. So definitely something to take note of. But if you're a fan of the Trendmasters line, I definitely recommend Rodan here. I think he's an awesome figure. Really, like I said, ever since I first got him, I was really excited to have him. And he was my first ever Rodan figure, so definitely something to note there. Other than that, though, folks, I think that covers it for this video. I would certainly like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.